Hi angels, my name is Titi and welcome back to Tuesday Talks with Titi. Today we will be discussing the big B boundaries. So we're going to be talking about where to set boundaries, the different types of boundaries, and I will be giving you guys some examples on the kinds of boundaries you should be setting with people, and then what to do if people don't respect your boundaries, and the importance and benefits of boundaries. So I have come up with 5 areas in your life where you should be setting boundaries. And these are physical boundaries, spiritual boundaries, relationship boundaries, financial boundaries, and personal boundaries. So physical boundaries, this has to do with our personal space, our body, our personal items, our rooms, our houses. So again, write down what your needs are, and then you can start to assess the kind of boundaries you need to be setting in each area. So my need here is I need to feel safe. And what this means is I don't like people going into my room without my permission. I don't like people going into my room when I'm not there. I don't like people going through my stuff when I'm not there. Depending on the situation, I might not kiss on the first date, or I might not on the first date. And depending on the kind of person, or depending on how my intuition, just in order for me to feel safe, I might go for a handshake instead of a hug, or I might just not engage in physical contact at all. So again, ask yourself what your needs are. And in this area, you can know what kind of boundaries you should be setting. Another type of boundary in this area is perhaps due to COVID. We just went through a pandemic, and if you haven't had COVID yet, or perhaps if you have, it's horrible and you don't want to have it again, then it's totally fine to have a mask and not want to engage in physical touch, and just want to if you still want to carry on the measures that we took during COVID right now because you don't want to catch it. Perhaps you have a family member who is pretty fragile with their health and you don't want them to catch COVID. It means you wear a mask, or you ask people to wear masks. Ask yourself what your needs are, and then you'll be able to think about the boundaries you should be setting in this area. Another kind of boundary in relationships could be, well, I'm not really into that, or I don't really like to be touched there. I like to be touched here instead, or I don't feel like doing this tonight. I don't feel comfortable going that far. Spiritual boundaries have more to do with your core beliefs, your morals. So again, ask yourself what your needs are. My need here is to feel like a good Christian and a good person. And so what that means is perhaps not doing things or engaging in behavior that goes against the Bible or that goes against my moral beliefs. So not lying, not cheating, not stealing, not being envious of others, not engaging in gossip. Believe it or not, those are boundaries, because the aim of boundaries is to build a healthier relationship, not just with other people, but with yourself. So that also means avoiding cognitive dissonance. If you know that you want to feel like a good person, who doesn't like to feel like a good person? If you feel like, if one of your needs is to not feel like you're a liar or a cheat or a gossiper, then don't engage in those behaviors. If someone is trying to tempt you, or if you're being tempted, then you have to set a boundary with them or with yourself. Tell yourself, sorry, I'm not going to engage in this because I'm only going to regret it later. Some examples of boundaries here could be perhaps saying, I go to church every Sunday, or I go to the mosque every Friday. So during those hours, I won't be able to go out with you. I won't be able to respond to calls or emails. Or this could also be saying, I don't believe in God, and so I wouldn't really prefer to be at events where God is discussed, and I would prefer to not be engaging in conversations where God is being discussed. Or if you're in my house, I really wouldn't appreciate you bringing this or that because it goes against my moral beliefs, it goes against my spiritual beliefs. So be honest with yourself and really ask yourself what those are. And then you can begin to come up with more boundaries that you should be setting here. So relationship boundaries have to do with the relationships that you have with other people, such as your friends, your family, your partner. So my need here is to feel safe, to feel loved, and to feel heard. So my boundaries here are, I don't fix people. I meet people where they're at, and I understand that who they are now is who they're going to be in my relationship with them. This also means that I don't get involved in drama. So if I have a friend, or if I notice that someone's trying to start drama, then I will set a boundary and tell them to leave me out of it. Another type of boundary you could be setting here with people is to refuse to be disrespected. And it is I cannot stress this enough, so important that the first time somebody ever disrespects you or crosses your boundary, you have to speak up. And I will discuss this further when I tell you guys about what to do when people don't listen to your boundaries. But the first time somebody does something to you, I honestly think that most of the time people just don't know what they're doing. And that's why it's important for you to correct it right there and then. Because if you don't, it becomes a habit, and it also becomes much harder for you to speak up. Every time I told myself, I'll just do it next time, the time that I spoke up it was too late, because by then it was the 100th thousandth time, and I was fuming and raging, and whatever reaction that I had in that moment was really it really did not make me look good. I did not feel good about myself. And again, one of my needs is to feel like I'm being a good friend. So in order for me to feel like that, I need to set this boundary, and I need to let people know when they're crossing mine. So if someone's doing something that you don't like you don't like physical touch, or you told your partner, hey, I'm tired tonight, and they're trying to touch you, you can be like, you need to stop. Or you have a friend who comes over and loves to crash at your plates, but you're not really a fan of it. So you set a boundary here and say, hey, I would really prefer if you could call me before coming over, and I would not prefer you sleeping over during work nights, or, ask yourself what your needs are, and then you can figure out what boundaries to set here. So financial boundaries obviously have to do with money. So my need here is I want to feel content. I want to feel safe and secure with my bank account. I do not want to feel anxiety over how much money I have. And so in order for that to happen, I have to set a boundary with myself first by telling myself I'm going to be saving and I budget. It doesn't mean that every once in a while I don't splurge a little bit. I honestly think that that's healthy, okay? But we'll talk about that another day. So I save, I watch how I spend my money, and I'm honest with other people if I'm short on money, or if I feel like this does not fit within my budget. If going out for dinner with you 5 times a week is not in my budget, then I will be honest. So our final area where we should be setting boundaries, and I save the best for last, is our boundaries with ourselves, our personal boundaries. So if you're struggling setting boundaries in every other area, because I guess those ones have more to do with other people than ourselves, you should take this one a lot seriously, because I think that this will help you get better in the other areas. So my need here is to be happy and healthy. So what boundaries here could look like is having a bedtime. Perhaps if you know you have to get up at 8 a.m. in the morning, then you should go to bed latest 12 a.m. Honestly, it's when you think about it, you can go to bed pretty late and still get a good night's sleep and still feel good. When I think about it, it's not that hard. So this could be setting a boundary with other people by telling them you're gonna have to leave at a certain time because you wanna get enough sleep, because who doesn't like to get enough sleep? You see, sleep is so, so important. I don't understand people who don't like sleep. I don't get it. I look forward to every day. The one thing that I look forward to is just lying in my bed, putting my sheets up and just drifting away. And I just put on some calming meditation, and I put on my diffuser, and I just feel like I'm the happiest person in the world. I don't know. That's just me. This could also be having a routine so you're not stressed. Lately, I fell back into old habits because I've been off work for about a month now. And so my sleeping habit is just ridiculous. And every day I sleep through the day and I stay up all night. I don't feel good about it. I feel down because I feel like I'm not getting stuff done. I feel tired. And so with that, I'm not feeling happy and healthy. And so this morning, last night I went to bed at 9 a.m., woke up at 5 a.m. this morning. I didn't plan it. I just woke up at 5 a.m. and then I started getting stuff done. I planned this video, I filmed this video, and I'm going to edit it right after. And I feel so much better. And so what this tells me is I have not had any boundaries with myself the past couple of weeks, and I didn't feel good. And so moving forward, in order for me to feel happy and healthy with myself, I need to set a boundary. I need to find a time to wake up and get stuff done. I need to make sure that I'm not sleeping through the day. I need to make sure that I'm being productive, even if it's just for 10 minutes a day, because the past few weeks I have not really been productive at all. This could also be having a diet and not eating stuff outside of your diet. I don't mean literally having a diet where you just eat salads and whatever, but be honest with yourself. So what are the kind of stuff that you feel you need to eat more of? So if you feel like you don't have energy, then perhaps you need to eat more food that contain iron, vitamin C. Set those boundaries within yourself. So that could be not indulging in foods that will make you feel tired. That means a lot of sugars or foods with a lot of oils. Another personal boundary could be, I don't like to eat out. That means I don't like to eat at other people's houses, or I don't like to drink alcohol. So if someone's pressuring me to drink alcohol, then I need to be firm with my boundaries, or I need to let them know beforehand that, oh, sorry, I can't make it to the bar tonight because I don't drink alcohol. Can we go somewhere that has mocktails, for example? Another boundary I set here is I have a need to smell good. And so what that means is I don't really engage in activity where I will sweat a lot. And well, if I do, then I have to go home and I have to shower. And this also means that I set a boundary with myself and I have to shower every single day, no matter the circumstances. Another boundary you could have here is wanting to feel beautiful. So again, getting enough sleep, having a routine. So for me, every Friday I take a Moroccan hammam bath, thanks to my best friend, Nora. I love you so much. No, so this also means that I do masks, I exfoliate my feet, I exfoliate my face, my entire body. I'm a big believer in soft life. I believe like that was made for me. So again, because I want to have a soft life, a life with no stress, this also means that I don't pursue people who have rejected me with their actions. So another boundary in order for you to feel happy and healthy is not feeling like you're being used. But hey, I feel like when it comes to this, even though I know nobody is above manipulation, we also kind of have some kind of responsibility with this. And it has to do with, guess what? Boundaries. So what this could look like is, if you don't want to feel used and you're dating someone who's nonchalant, blowing hot and cold, you probably should watch my first video, then you need to set a boundary. I'm not going to see you anymore if you continue to act this way. Another boundary could look like, if a guy is texting you at 3 a.m. to come over for drinks or to watch Netflix or to help him fix his car, I don't know, whatever the hell kind of excuse they come up with these days, and you go, then I don't know what to tell you. Like I said, no one's above manipulation. And honestly, I kind of fell for this lately and I did not see it coming. But you know what? We live and we learn. Now that we've talked about what boundaries are, we should also talk about what boundaries aren't. Boundaries are not canceling plans at the last minute. They're not never doing things for anybody just because you don't feel like it or you don't want to. That's actually just being an asshole. Boundaries are not treating people how they treat you. I think that usually stems from a different problem. Could also have something to do with boundaries, but I think most of the time you might actually have to assess the kind of relationship you have with that person. Boundaries are not making threats to end relationships. Now, like I said, if somebody ever crosses your boundary for the first time, you have to speak up. Now, if this is something where you're just starting to have boundaries and people are getting used to it, then of course give them some grace, give them some time to adjust. But if you generally feel like somebody knows you don't like something and they continue to do it, put some distance between you and them. So perhaps you don't like someone touching your stuff when they come over to your house, or you don't like the way that they touch you, then perhaps don't invite them over. They come over, don't open the door, don't go to places where you know they're gonna be at, don't reply to their messages, put some distance between you and them. But then again, if this is something where you feel like they're purposely trying to push your boundaries to see what kind of reaction they're going to get out of you, or just to see if you're serious about it, then I think you need to be asking yourself if you want to see them often or at all. So what are the benefits of having boundaries? Lack of resentment. Back when I didn't have boundaries in my life, I would always feel like I was being taken advantage of. I would feel like I was being used. Why? Because I always did things for people. And so when they had boundaries, I was so offended. Like, I would have done this for you. I remember back when I was working, I pretty much had no boundaries because I didn't want people not to like me, because I felt like this is a work environment. I want to be good with everybody. And so for me, what that meant was I had to make everybody happy, which that is, as we all know, that's impossible to do. But anyway, so I would always do things for people. And then when the time came and then they didn't do it for me, I would have so much resentment and anger. But with boundaries, this disappears because you give what you can give, and you also know what to expect from others. And this brings me to my next point. You feel more confident because with boundaries, you know what you can give in relationships and you know what to expect. I remember when I didn't have any boundaries and I would feel anger, I thought I was feeling anger towards the other person, when in reality, I was feeling it towards myself. I took everything so personally. For example, if someone didn't reply to my text right away or in 24 hours, I would start feeling some type of way like, why are they acting funny? Do they not like me? Blah, blah. But now that I do have boundaries and I don't force myself to reply, and I reply to people when I actually have time. Again, I'm not an asshole with this. It does not mean that I will leave you on red for like 50 days, but it means that if I'm doing something, like for example, if I'm filming this video and someone texts me, then I will reply to them afterwards. And so now something as little as that, I don't take personally anymore. And I end up feeling so much better about myself, and I end up feeling so much comfortable in the relationships I have with other people, because I don't think that I don't feel like I'm being treated unfairly, or I don't feel like there's kind of an even score, because again, I'm giving what I can give with boundaries, and they're giving what they can give with boundaries. And so I have confidence in my relationship with them and with myself. So boundaries give us freedom to be ourselves. If you know that people know what is expected of you, you feel much more comfortable, because then you don't have to engage in people please behavior. Because if you've told someone, hey, I can't give you this, then they're most likely not going to ask you for it. And so you don't have to spend time wondering how people feel about you in your relationships. Like, oh my God, do they like me or do they not? Because you feel like, well, I'm being my true authentic self. I really hope this video helped you guys in setting boundaries, and I would like to hear and discuss this further with you guys in the comments. So if you have any examples, or if you have any areas in your life where you're struggling to set boundaries and you need some help with that, definitely send me a message on Instagram or leave a comment below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next week.